Welcome to Yin Yoga for Courage. My name is Kelly Green and I'm going to be facilitating your practice today. I would love for you to grab 2 blankets and something that you can use as an eye covering. So I have an eye pillow here. It could be an eye mask or a towel, face cloth, you decide. I would also love for you to be really warm and comfortable during this practice. So feel free to layer, maybe wear pajamas, big fuzzy socks, whatever you need. And it could even be nice to lay a blanket along your mat as well and have an extra layer of cushion, but also warmth underneath your body. Yin Yoga is a practice where we are targeting the deeper connective tissues of the body, and we are looking for sensation. We're looking to feel a stretch in each of these poses, and we'll be here for about 4 minutes. Okay? At the end of each 4 minutes, we're going to come out really slowly. And today I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to use the singing bowl to let you know that we're soon going to begin to transition. So when you hear the sound of the singing bowl, you can just stay present in whatever shape we're in at that time. Hear the singing bowl, feel sensation, and know that you're going to start to come out. Okay? So thank you so much for joining me. So excited to see you this morning. And this class was inspired by one of the cards that I drew from the Wild Offering Oracle by Tosha Silver. And I was choosing a card yesterday as I was preparing for the class that I would teach to you today. This one was drawn, and I hope that it resonates with you. So the card reads, Courage. Divine courage is not the absence of fear, but a nudge that says, keep going, do it. Don't worry, all will be well. You have to get quiet enough to hear it. Dear Divine, may I feel your courage and your will. Divine courage is not the absence of fear, but a nudge that says, keep going, do it, don't worry, all will be well. You have to get quiet enough to hear it. Dear Divine, may I feel your courage and your will. So I really loved this card. Number one, sometimes I feel like the really fiery practices are what support us in our development of courage and following that will. But that other part of it is being talked about right here. And she says, you have to get quiet enough to hear that voice telling you to keep going, do it, don't worry, all will be well. And I think that we all could really use that softening at this time. So I offer this practice to you, and this courage card will be our anchor today. So we're going to begin in a centering position that I really, really love. So what I'm going to invite you to do is lie down on your mat on your tummy. And so if you're feeling cool, bring a blanket over top of you so that you can feel the warmth and the heaviness, the grounding from your blanket while we're here. So lying down on your tummy, we're going to stack the hands, pillow the hands in order to create some support for the forehead. And this will also help us to have a little bit of space where we can breathe. Finding that head support. And then begin with your toes tucked. And as you tuck your toes, push your heels down away to your mat and feel your pelvis lengthen from your low back. And then release the toes. Let the top of the feet land on your mat. And if you feel you need a little bit more space, you could go ahead and play with widening the knees a little bit more. Land here. And start to feel your body, your bones, releasing heavy down into your mat. Notice the right side of your body. Notice your left side of your body, and notice any variation
And any tension that might be present in the left side compared to the right. No need to change anything at this moment, just holding that gentle, compassionate space for yourself. And then go ahead and begin to notice the way that the belly expands into your mat with your in-breath. Feel that little bit of pressure of the abdomen against your mat. And then feeling the softening and the spreading of the abdominal organs laterally opening against the width of your mat. Imagine that all of the nerves around the solar plexus area were releasing and relaxing. The kidneys softening. The adrenals being held and supported here as well. With each out breath, a deepening of that surrender of the belly organs and tissues. You may even have a sense of a pulsation deep within the belly. Remaining present here for a few more breaths. And then slowly, as you're ready, beginning to simply shift to the back side of your body, reclining supine on your back. If necessary for you, you can feel free to allow the knees to stay bent. The feet could be wide, the knees move in to rest against each other. Or if an extended Shavasana position feels good throughout your body, then go ahead and rest into that. And then for a moment, becoming present to the space that you created through the abdomen. In our opening prone position. Three more breaths here. Beautiful. And then from here, let's slowly roll through to one side. Take a breath here, ear resting on your bicep. And then push through the hand of the top arm to reach your body up through center, coming into a seated position. Good. And here, just allow the legs to be crossed, folded at the ankles. And extend the arms wide to your sides. Inhale and reach the arms up, look up. Exhale, bring your fingertips to your shoulders. And we're going to inhale, rotate to one direction. Exhale, rotate back through center. Inhale through to the other side. Exhale, back through center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, twist through the rib cage. Exhale. One more time to each side. Breathing as you move. Back through center. Inhale, reach the arms up. Stay here for your out breath. Inhale, breathe long into the sides of your body. Exhale, gently release the hands down to your sides. Bring your hands behind you. Bring the feet to the floor and windshield wiper the knees a couple of times from left to right. And notice if you feel that you're holding your breath, and begin to breathe long into the abdomen, the area that we focused on through the beginning of our class. Good. All right. Come to a place where you're seated on your blanket. You want to elevate the hips up. Good. And you can bring the soles of the feet together any distance from the groin, further away or closer into the body, whatever works for you. And today we're going to work this into a forward bend butterfly pose. So in our Yin Yoga practice, we're going to give ourselves permission to round the spine as we begin to shift the body forward. So elevating the hips allows us to keep a little bit of that length in the low back, but we'll let the shoulders, neck, and chin round and tuck in, opening through the back line of the body. And cocooning in through the heart, finding a little massage of the internal organs. And just notice where you feel constricted from any tension that you may be carrying. There might be some old patterns that have resurfaced throughout the last few weeks and the changes that we've been experiencing. So just give yourself permission, if you need to take a little bit of fluid movement, maybe through the neck or the upper back, to release any of that. And I like to do that with my breath. Bringing a really soft element of flow. Let that fluidity be easeful and supportive. And start to separate the teeth slightly. Maybe wiggle the bottom jaw side to side a little bit. And soften the tongue. And if it feels right to come to stillness, then go ahead and take that option. Breathe in from the crown of the head through the back of the neck, the back of the ribs, the back of the abdomen, the back of the sacrum, right down to the tail. And breathe out. Trace the line of the spine from the tail all the way up to the crown. Give yourself permission to soften into this quiet, still space, putting no pressure on yourself to achieve that right away. One breath at a time, one shape at a time. Releasing one tissue at a time. If you have the tendency to keep this pose active as though you were in a more active practice, perhaps you might open the palms and let this be a gesture of receptivity and surrender. Softening the space between the shoulder blades. And we'll stay here for about 5 more breaths. Place your palms down on the floor. Press your hands into the floor, slowly lifting the spine, stacking one vertebrae on top of the next until you come into a nice tall seat. Bring the hands to the outsides of the knees, replace the feet on the floor, lift the knees up, let the hands come behind you, and we can release through windshield wipering the knees or in any other way that resonates with you. You may feel compelled to remain in a still position. In that case, just let yourself be seated, maybe with your legs extended. Okay, a little self-massage over the top of the thighs or the inner thighs. The outer hips can be nice. Beautiful. And when that feels complete for you, come back up to seated on your blanket. Extend your legs so that the feet are wide. If you feel a pulling underneath of your knees, go ahead and take a blanket and bring it in and underneath the knee, rolled up a little bit. You could do the same thing on the other side if you need to with a blanket or a pillow. So prepare as you need to. We're not going to be in this position for a full yin pose. We're going to take a little bit of a flowing movement between our last pose and our next pose. So let's bring the hand across the body, resting the hand on the thigh, the other hand comes behind your hip, and I want you to breathe your spine long, lift and lengthen.
And when you exhale, if there's a little bit of twist available, take it. If not, that's fine. Let it be. Good. Inhale, walk the hands back through center. Exhale, come to the other side. Breathe the spine long. Reach the shoulders back toward each other. And release on your exhale. Good. So switching sides through your breath. And this is your practice. So if you feel that you need to take a little bit more time on one side of the twist than the other, allow yourself to do that. If your breath and your movement is faster or slower than mine, stay with you. One more time to each side if you've been flowing. Good. Back through center. Walk the hands forward. Let the legs be relaxed. You probably have a tendency to want to dig the back of the legs down like we do in a more active practice. But as much as you can, let the legs be relaxed. Let the hands come down. Let the chin and head tuck. And then push into the hands and flow. Rise to a nice tall seat. Good. So in and out. Several cycles. Feel your breath. Feel your flow. Okay, when you arrive at the top, we're going to shift. Come into a kneeling position toward the front of your mat and have a blanket nearby for support. Maybe both of your blankets. You could have one at the front of your mat and one about midway down your mat. So we're going to come in toward a swan pose, which you might know as pigeon from your yang practice. You can tuck your toes, lift your hips, and make your way into a little downward facing dog just for a breath or two. Let your head hang. And then bring one knee forward outside of the wrist. Okay, so the heel of that foot could be in a number of different positions. So level 1, the heel could be right in and underneath the thigh. Level 2, you could start to walk the foot toward the opposite long edge of your mat. And for some, it's available to bring the shin parallel with the front edge of our mat, but I, to be honest, don't see that very often. So just do you. A lot of us will feel a lot of sensation in through the hip in this pose. That's what we're going for. And so you could bring the floor up to you by placing a rolled or folded blanket in underneath the side of your hip, the sit bone. And you'll notice that my chest is lifted right now. That's intentional. So you can come up onto tented fingers or onto your palms, wherever works best for you. Start to wiggle walk the back leg behind you and notice if there's a little bit of an opening sensation in through the front of the left hip. The hands reach down into the floor and press the spine up long, create a little bit of space there. And when you want to move into a more passive position, we'll come onto the forearms. I thought the blanket might be really nice as a little bit of a pressure into the belly, the abdomen, the solar plexus area that we're working with today. So if you feel pulled, you could bring that little bit of massage into the abdomen if that would feel good. If that makes you feel constricted or tight or like you're gripping or holding tension, then go ahead and remove it, okay? Because this is also a nice position, kind of like child's pose, where the belly can be a little bit more open and free to breathe fully. So a couple of options there for you to play with. Some of us will continue to rest here
with our forearms on the floor and the chest lifted, maybe the fists stack and we release the forehead. And some of us will come all the way down, widen the elbows, maybe stack and pillow the hands, release the forehead down. You'll find that optimal position for yourself. We'll be here for about 3 minutes. For some, this position won't feel accessible for any variety of reasons, and that's completely okay. So if you're really feeling it in your knee or somewhere else in your body and this isn't working for you, then shift out of this position, bring yourself onto the floor on your back, cross one ankle over the opposite knee. That may be enough right here. You could use the hand of the bent knee and press the inner thigh to move the knee away from your body. A lot of people like to flex the foot of the bent knee. If this isn't quite enough, you need a little more. Lift the left knee, bring hands behind the back of the thigh, and maybe take a little wiggle to arrive here. And you can stay in this position. Reclined figure 4 or swan pose. When you feel ready, slowly rise up onto your hands, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, slide your front foot back to meet the back foot, and raise the hips up in downward facing dog. Or some of you might prefer to come onto your knees and shift your hips from side to side from table pose. Make a little walkout release here. And then as you're ready, we're going to find the second side of this swan shape. So you can go ahead and bring the second knee forward outside of the wrist. And so that foot is in underneath the thigh or coming toward the long edge of your mat. Okay, remember this is a hip opening pose. There's no such thing as a knee opening pose. So do what you need to do to keep the hips and the knees feeling comfortable here. Okay, again, option to bring the second blanket in underneath the abdomen, underneath the belly. And then we'll stay up for a moment, coming onto tented fingers or down onto the palms. Breathe length into the spine. Maybe wiggle walk the back foot behind you a little bit, creating a little bit more space through the front of the back leg hip. And when you're ready to soften down, release down onto your forearms. Pause here, wiggle around, find your center. And then you can soften down into stacked hands, giving the forehead a little bit of support, or come down even further if you have the space. And some of you will want to be in that reclined figure 4 position. So if that is where you're at, That's wonderful. Make your way into your shape. And we'll be here for about 3 minutes. So we're working with the energetic center of the solar plexus today, which is that area just above the navel. Some of the organs contained within the solar plexus chakra are the kidneys and the adrenals. All of the nerves that innervate the belly. And in Sanskrit, the solar plexus chakra is called Manipura. It literally means place of jewels or place of many riches. Solar plexus chakra is that space of courage and our will, our determination. It's our fire center. It's also an area where sometimes we feel fear. When we do, our upper solar plexus, just underneath the respiratory diaphragm, constricts. And then our body's innate response is to clench. So, we have that term getting butterflies. But T.S. Little says in his book that it's more accurately like we're getting mosquitoes because the sensation is nervy and grating and irritable. And that really, really resonated with me when I read it. Breathing in to the solar plexus region. Breathing out, releasing any fears, worries, stress. Come back to the quietude of your breath. When you feel ready, slowly bring your hands back to your mat. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, raise your hips, bring your front foot to meet your back foot. Bend the knees one at a time. Walk it out. Alternately, come down to all fours or rest back into child's pose. Lower your knees as you're ready. Meet me in a variation of child's pose that's soothing and nurturing for you. So one option is to support the entire abdomen and chest with a blanket. You could roll your blanket up, bring it between the knees. The knees are wide. The heels sit back toward, the hips sit back toward the heels. You could use a blanket over the back of the ankles to give you a little bit extra support. It's okay also if the hips don't touch the heels, no big deal. Release down onto your support, and you might, depending on the length of your blanket, want a second blanket or a pillow to rest your head. Or you could entertain a propless version of this pose, which would be perfectly suitable as well. Extending the arms forward. If you want to feel some opening through the back of the shoulders while we're here, we could walk the elbows forward. Bring the palms of the hands together and reach the thumbs back behind the neck. Breathing into the space between the shoulder blades. And surrendering the abdomen throughout the duration of this pose. Cocooning into this place of respite and rejuvenation. Hear the ocean of your breath whispering through the pathways of your breathing apparatus. Your own private pod for relaxation and healing. Letting go. Send your awareness to the back of the solar plexus. Imagine breathing into the space right around and beneath the low ribs. And a few more breaths here. As you're ready, extend the arms forward, push down into the palms, walk your hands in towards your shoulders, lift your body. Come through seated and lie down onto your back. And as you lie onto your back, you could have your blankets and your eye pillow, whatever you're using for an eye pillow, handy. Okay? Releasing down onto your back. And make yourself comfortable here with the knees bent. And then we're going to move into a reclined twist. I'll show you a couple of variations. Variation 1 will bring the knees toward the chest and then lower the knees to one side. Okay? So option 2, create a little bit of extra support through the use of a blanket either under your knees or maybe between your knees, depending on what feels best in your body for that support there. Okay, if you feel like you're there but you need a little bit more, then come back through center and cross the left leg over the right. Lift the knees and allow the legs to twist to the right. Okay, again, you can use a blanket to help bring the floor up to meet you. So placing that under the knees. When you find that optimal position for the legs, widen the arms. I love to keep the gaze toward the knees personally. I find that having any sort of tension in the neck or residual patterns of tension in the neck, it seems to be more useful to keep the neck in a more neutral alignment. And sometimes I'll even place a blanket behind my head and my neck here. We'll take several cycles of breath here in this position. Notice the pacing of your breath. Notice the depth of your breath. Notice the sound of your breath. Notice any sensation running down the open side of the body. Inhale. Exhale. Good. We're going to gently shift and make our way back up through center. Uncross the legs if they're crossed. Realign the pelvis so that the pelvis, shoulders, and the knees are in nice neutral long alignment. And then with the hands on the front hip points, just rock and roll the sacrum into your mat for a few times. Or maybe take that in a circular movement in both directions, just briefly. Good. We're going to come into the second side of our reclined twist. So that first option was hugging knees to chest, letting knees fall to the left, and supporting the knees with a blanket underneath the knees or between the knees. Okay, both are fine options. If you feel like you're a little bit more open, you want to try a deeper variation, not better, just a different shape, deeper variation. Cross the left leg over the right, let the knees fall to the left. And again, you could take the support of a blanket underneath the knees. This side might also be different than side 1. So give yourself permission to shift and change if needed. The arms are reaching wide. We're feeling the softness of our breath. Good. Breathing in, calming, quieting energy. And breathing out. Being aware of any sensation from the right armpit down through the right side of the rib cage, abdomen, all the way to the hip. Notice if there's anywhere that you're using your muscles to grip or hold on, and see if it's available for you to let go. A few more breaths here. And when you feel complete, we'll gently bring the knees back up through center, uncross the legs, take the feet as wide as your mat, bring both knees to the right, press the left knee down toward your mat, gently lift the knees back up through center and bring the knees through the other side. Right knee presses down toward the mat. Good, continue this windshield wiper movement a little bit longer. Just neutralizing, feeling a connection between the right and left sides of our body together again. Good. Bring the knees back through center. If there are any final movements that you feel that you need to take before you rest into Shavasana, then go ahead and take them now. When you're ready for your final relaxation pose, bring one of your blankets in behind your head and pull it down so that it's underneath your neck as well, right up to the top of your shoulders. Okay? I like to create more stability for the neck by squeezing and tucking the blanket in and under the neck, even the head. We want to have the chin slightly tucked to sustain that long neutral spine even up through the neck. And then place your eye pillow or your face cloth, whatever you're using, over your eyes. Okay, the legs could be extended long or up in this position where the knees are collapsing in and resting into one another with feet wide. We'll begin our Shavasana with hands to belly. And I just want you to sense and feel into this area while you hear the singing bowl. Divine courage is not the absence of fear, but a nudge that says, keep going, do it, don't worry, all will be well. You have to get quiet enough to hear it. Dear Divine, may I feel your courage and your will. Full breath into the entire body. Exhale, full surrender. Letting go.
And slowly, slowly feeling your breath. And deepening your breath. Feeling the residue of your practice, gently make your way through to one side. And slowly rise to seated. Join me with your hands collected at the center of your heart space as we prepare to close our practice. Bow your head to your hands. Acknowledge your inherent beauty, wisdom, and truth. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining us today. Siggy finally settled down. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.